ورسوله الكريم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. So yesterday we began to talk about sidq, truthfulness. And there were three types of truthfulness. Truthfulness meaning affirmation of the heart of iman, and truthfulness in niyyah when it comes to our actions, and lastly truthfulness is in our words when it comes to speech. After that he speaks about patience, because patience is one of the branches of sidq, of truthfulness. Patience is one of the branches. And I've told you this before, وَالصَّبْرُ فِي ثَلَاثَةِ أَشْيَاء لَا تَتِمُّ إِلَّا بِهِ. Patience, sabr, is found in three things, and it's not complete without all three of these. Number one, الصَّبْرُ عَنْ مَحَارِمِ اللَّهِ. A person being steadfast and patient in avoiding the sins of Allah. Temptations will come on you left and right. No matter how great of a friend of Allah a person becomes, temptation will be there, right? Temptation is there. Yusuf alayhi salam, who can be greater than a prophet? وَلَقَدْ هَمَّتْ بِهِ وَهَمَّ بِهَا لَوْلَا أَن رَأَى بُرْهَانَ رَبِّي. Yusuf alayhi salam, as a human being, there's desire that you'll have, but he had the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَوْلَا أَن ثَبَّتْنَاكَ لَقَدْ كِدْتَ تَرْكَنُ إِلَيْهِمْ شَيْئًا قَلِيلًا. If we didn't make you firm, you would incline a little bit towards them, the kuffar, right? Temptations will come to whoever. It's our job to be patient in the face of that. This is one philosophy we should have. The desire to do sins is not a bad thing. Rather, the desire to do sins is an opportunity to become closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. An angel has no desire to do any sin. That's why a pious human being is better than an angel, right? Because despite having the propensity and desire to do bad deeds, when we resist it, we're getting closer to Allah. That's sabr. And if you mess up, you mess up. Do tawbah. Number two, وَالصَّبْرُ عَلَى اتِّبَاعِ أَمْرِ اللَّهِ. Patience on the obedience of Allah. Steadfastness in that. Look, Taraweeh first day is easy, right? Second day it's easy. Today it'll be easy because we're done with 1¼ para, right? Now 1 para all the way through, inshallah, unless, we'll read less at the end and add more at the beginning of the next day, but generally it'll be 1 para till the end, inshallah. Okay? So, in that case, it's easy today. But in general, to do 30 days straight of Taraweeh, it gets tired. One day you're tired, one day you're feeling sick. Okay, in Ramadan, to come to the masjid every day for Fajr, for all 5 salats. So many people here, right? That's sabr. It's difficult to do for 30 days, but you know what real sabr is? To be here after Ramadan. To be here after. I'm going out of town on Eid day, so you won't see me for a few days. But in general, right, after Ramadan, to maintain that, because if we're honest now, many people are working from home, right? So if you're working from home and you don't have a meeting at that time, if you have a meeting at that time, fine, understandable is an excuse. But if you don't have a meeting at that time, then if you're able to come here in Ramadan, you should be able to come here outside of Ramadan too, right? And a lot of times, I can't speak for the corporate world, so forgive my ignorance, but I've been with people that are like in meetings and we're doing other things. Like we're out, they're driving, we're having a conversation while they're in a meeting. So it's up to you. Everybody can judge their situation best, right? After that, and I'm not belittling it at all, because I don't understand that world. I'm just saying what I have observed. Yes? It's based on the urf of the company. That's all I'm saying. Whatever the company's understanding is. If the company doesn't mind that you're driving around while you're on a call, I don't know. That's your world. It's not my world. After that, وَالصَّبْرُ عِنْدَ الْمَصَائِبِ اِحْتِسَابًا لِلَّهِ. Patience at the time of some difficulty, but he adds a condition here. The condition is اِحْتِسَابًا لِلَّهِ. Hoping and being convinced that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you. That's what real sabr is. It's not just to hold it in, just to show that you're a tough guy. That's not the purpose. It's that you hold it in and you don't say anything, saying that I know Allah's going to reward me for this. That leads to the next thing. Because when a person has sabr, expecting Allah's reward, they will have this state which is called qana'ah. وَالْقَنَاعَةُ فِي ثَلَاثَةِ أَشْيَاء. Qana'ah, contentment with Allah, is also a branch of sidq, affirmation of Allah. Qana'ah has three aspects. قِلَّةُ الْغِنَى بَعْدَ وُجُودِهِ. A person not feeling independent despite having means with them. You have means, you have wealth, but you feel I'm still dependent on Allah. I'm not independent. At any moment, Allah can take it away from me. وَلَوْلَا إِذْ دَخَلْتَ جَنَّتَكَ قُلْتَ مَا شَاءَ اللَّهُ لَا قُوَّةَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ إِن تَرَنِي أَنَا أَقَلَّ مِنْكَ مَالًا وَوَلَدًا فَعَسَى رَبِّي أَن يُؤْتِيَنِي خَيْرًا مِنْ جَنَّتِكَ وَيُرْسِلَ عَلَيْهَا حُسْبَانًا مِنَ السَّمَاءِ فَتُصْبِحَ صَعِيدًا زَلَقًا. Why, when you go into all your wealth, why don't you say, مَا شَاءَ اللَّهُ لَا قُوَّةَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ, that it's as Allah has willed and there's no power besides Him. And if you think that I'm less, it could be that one day Allah will give you more, and it could be that Allah sends a storm to destroy all of the wealth that you've amassed over your life that you're so proud about. So the one thing in qana'ah is a person thinking, not feeling independent, even when they have the means to consider themselves independent. Because we're not independent of Allah. Number two, وَصِيَانَةُ الْفَقْرِ عِنْدَ الْعَدَمِ وَقِلَّةِ الْإِحْتِسَابِ. Being protective of poverty. What does that mean? Protective of poverty, it means that showing that you're not in need. Meaning protecting the secret of poverty that you have. Not asking from people. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say in the Quran about some people? That تَحْسَبُهُمُ الْجَاهِلُ أَغْنِيَاءَ مِنَ التَّعَفُّفِ لَا يَسْأَلُونَ النَّاسَ إِلْحَافًا. Right? That the people who are not aware of a person's inner situation will think that they're rich. مِنَ التَّعَفُّفِ تَعْرِفُهُمْ بِسِيمَاهُمْ لَا يَسْأَلُونَ النَّاسَ إِلْحَافًا. Because they are ashamed to disclose their state to anybody else. They don't ask. Right? So a person protecting that secret of poverty that they have, عِنْدَ الْعَدَمِ وَقِلَّةِ الْأَسْبَابِ, at times where they don't have much and when they have little means. And the third thing for qana'ah is وَالسُّكُونُ إِلَىٰ أَوْقَاتِ اللَّهِ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ مَعْ حُلُولِ الْفَاقَةِ, is to take solace in times with Allah, times in zikr when hunger is dominant upon you. Meaning everything, you don't have anything, but you take solace in those moments. I'm so close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then وَلِلْقَنَاعَةِ أَوَّلٌ وَآخِرٌ. Qana'ah, contentment, it has a initial stage and it has a final stage. فَأَوَّلُهَا, the first stage of qana'ah is تَرْكُ الْفُضُولِ مَعَ وُجُودِ الاتِّسَاعِ, is to leave extra things even when you have an abundance. When you have a lot, leave it. Leave the extra things. Leave the things that don't matter. Because you're satisfied with Allah put in your hand. Why do you need to go and get more and more? It's a competition, right? Like I told my friend, is he here today? He got a new car. I said, Mubarak on your new car. He said, Mubarak on your new car. I said, well, I don't have a new car. I rented. My car was broken. So he said, oh, I thought so-and-so got a truck, so you got a truck. I said, why would I do that? Why do I have to compete with anybody, right? So anyways, وَتَرْكُ الْفُضُولِ مَعَ وُجُودِ الاتِّسَاعِ وَآخِرُهَا وُجُودُ الْغِنَى مَعَ الْقِلَّةِ وَفَقْدِ الْأَسْبَابِ. And the final stage is that a person feels spiritually rich and actually physically rich as well, while having very little. وَفَقْدِ الْأَسْبَابِ. What did Rasulullah say? The hadith is not on my tongue at the moment. But he said that if a person wakes up and they're healthy and they're safe and they have food for a day, it's as if they're a king. I'm paraphrasing the hadith. That's what Rasulullah says. That person wakes up, they're healthy, they're safe, and they have food for a day, it's as if like they're a king. They have every good in the world. Rasulullah said, "Ad-dunya kulluha mata'." The entire world is a thing to benefit from. وَخَيْرُ مَتَاعِ الدُّنْيَا الْمَرْأَةُ الصَّالِحَةُ. And the best thing in the world is al-mar'atu salihah, a pious woman. If you have a pious wife, subhanallah. So even when you have little things, when you have things, even you say, no, I'm rich. I am like a king because I have enough to get by. I'm not on the streets, right? ومنها هنا قال بعضهم, because of this some say القناعة أعلى من الرضا. Some say that satisfaction and contentment is a higher state than just being pleased with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given. وإنما أراد قناعة التام. But what is meant by this is only that full contentment. لأن الراضي, because a person who is content لا يتغير في المنع والعطاء. His state does not change when he's not given something and when he's given something. وَالْقَانِعُ غَنِيٌّ بِرَبِّهِ. But a qani', a person who's content, they're rich by their Rabb subhanahu wa ta'ala. Meaning when they're poor, their state even gets better. That Allah is enriching me. لَا يَبْتَغِي الزِّيَادَةِ. They don't want anything more. مَعَهُ. With Allah. مِنْ حَظِّ هَوَاهُ. Due to their nafs. اللهم إلا إن كانت منه إليه. The only exception to this is if what comes to them is a gift from Allah to them. Then they're happy with it. Otherwise, they don't want more. One thing is when a person is content with their state, they say, okay, I'm happy with the way that things are. I'm satisfied, Allah, this is what you want. But if you give me something better, I'll be more happy, right? Whereas a person, when they're, or I'll be happy, right? But a person, when they have qana'ah, they don't want any, they're happy with the lack. Because they say, Allah is giving me this, and in this state, Allah is elevating me. So inshallah, we'll stop here. Tomorrow, inshallah. I don't know tomorrow what the program will be. Maybe we'll do this, maybe we won't. Shah Sahab, kal karna hai ya cancel for graduation? Last year you had me do it. Inshallah. So Shah Sahab said it. So Shah Sahab is my Shah. So inshallah, we'll go with it inshallah. Tomorrow inshallah we'll talk about zuhud. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil